Hello, my friends. Well, it's been a kind of a rough week so far. My poor Moosie had a fall on Monday in the early afternoon. We were racing off to the dermatologist for an appointment. And when we got to the offices, and I unpacked the car, I said, "Should we use the wheelchair or do you want to use your rollator?" And he said, "No, I'm okay on the rollator." Well, of course, we went in, and it was a little longer walk than he usually does when he practices around here. We got up to the third floor, and we're going down the hallway, and I was about 10 feet ahead of him to run in to tell the doctor we were here, but we were a little late, and I heard some moaning, turned around and went out, and he was on the floor in the hallway, had fallen. He tried to put his rollator in a few seconds that I wasn't even in the hallway, just to sit down, and when he turned around, he fell when he tried to sit down. Well, he evidently hit his head, and his arm kind of banged up, but the worst part is that he did fracture the top two bones in his neck. And that's fortunately when the paramedics came, and of course nurses came out right away, so he was intended to. And since he was on his Eliquis, he was bleeding quite a bit from his head, and they couldn't stop that for a long time. But he did say, my neck hurts, so thank God the paramedics right away put a collar on him. If they had not done that, if not, would not have been a good situation. And they took him to our local hospital and took him right into the emergency room, and he was in terrible pain. And I followed to the hospital. This was about 2:30. And they did a quick CT scan. He can't have MRIs because he has a pacemaker. And of course he has the hip with some metal in it. And they said, doctor came out, and the doctor said, "You were right. You broke your neck." Well, as soon as I heard that sounds, oh my God, so awful. And you think everything in 2 seconds, you think of everything. And so she said, "We have a neurosurgeon here at the hospital, and we'll look at the CT scans and see what they say." So they said either they put him in traction and it will heal, or there will be an operation. Well, when you think about an operation on an 87-year-old on his neck, thank God they tested him and he wasn't paralyzed. The doctor said it's a wonder that you're okay. Can you believe this? My Moosie always said, "I can't fall anymore." You know, he knows what happens when you fall at that age, especially a bad one. I'm so sorry to tell you this, but I know you care about my Moosie. And so he was put into the ICU. They were working on the bleeding. I think, those things he had up on his head, I think those broke loose, and he, I guess, had another lesion up here. And so he had a lot of blood. They didn't know where the blood was coming from, but I think in the end it was all up here. But the good news was there was no internal bleeding in his head or whatever. Well, that was Monday. To make a long story short, he's now been transferred to another floor in the hospital. And other than still being in terrible pain, they said they don't want to do surgery. He doesn't need the surgery, that they have him now in a big collar which goes up against he's very uncomfortable, flat on his back. Now today they did raise the back just a little bit because he was so uncomfortable. But they've been giving him medication, obviously whatever the doctor allows, but he still is in constant pain. I was with him yesterday. Margie visited yesterday. Mikey's called all the children. The kids, Colleen has put this text on, and all the kids are keeping up with everything. And the poor guy, he said, "We won't be able to go see the kids. We were going to go see Molly's little 3 babies." And he's perfectly fine in his head. You know my Moosie, he's very sharp. He's a voracious reader and everything. But when you see him in a state like that and he can't talk real well, you know, the nurses think he's somebody that's not all there. Well, he is, thank God. But terrible pain. So he knows how he fell. He remembers everything. I'm losing my train of thought here. He knows that he fractured his neck, the top two bones, I think, and that's not good. So whatever the future holds, he said, she's going to be a bitch, Moosie. He said to me, I said, we'll get through this. Well, evidently, when he leaves the hospital, when that will be, I have no idea, because his pain is still bad, and he, as you know, he has no balance to begin with, and he'll need rehab and physical therapy. So my Margie and my daughters keep saying, Mom, don't get ahead of yourself. I couldn't sleep the first night. I had 2 hours of sleep thinking about this. And every time I woke up, if I went to sleep, I'd look next to him. I'd think, oh, he's out watching rugby or football. You know, you after so many years sleeping next to each other, you like that. Well, I'm asking all of you, if you're so inclined, would you please pray for my Moosie? I'm sure everything will eventually be all right, but in the meantime, it's so hard to see him like this. And to know how uncomfortable he is and the pain. So yesterday morning they did, in the middle of the night again, they did some more scanning and to learn a little bit more about everything. And so they had this collar on him in there, but they were planning to put a new collar on him, but they wanted to wait until he was in a little less pain. I don't think that's going to happen too soon. But they transferred him out of the ICU to another floor. And I hate to go through all this with you, but I know you are my friends. I know you love him. I keep saying that. But evidently, I brought his phone to him yesterday, and they keep giving him morphine, but I guess with the neck thing, and the uncomfortableness, and when he goes to move his arm, and he's got bruises on his arm, and one eye is starting to go black on him. The poor guy, he looks like he's been through the war. And all the bandages up here, they finally got the bleeding to stop on that. And this morning, he must have gotten hold of his phone. I don't know how he did that, because he can't move his face or neck or anything looking straight up. And he called me. It was about 7:30. He called Colleen. He called Matt. He was calling everybody. How he got to do that on his phone, I have no idea. Evidently they had given him a stronger something in the evening. It took nurses 3 hours, I guess, to put this new permanent thing on his neck. It's something down here and up here. And then they gave him a strong medication, and he, for the first time, slept all night. But when he woke up, he was disoriented. He thought he was home. He was thinking all things. He was scared. He thought he couldn't get the nurses in. Of course, it was shift changing time too. And he called. He said, "Get down here fast. Call all the kids. Get them down. Something's going down." And unfortunately, it was him waking up and being disoriented, and from the medication, I guess. But he remembers having the collar put on him. He remembered everything. But I had been telling him the day before that it was so hot now, we had some ants. And he said, there were ants on the ceiling there. And I said, no, that was home, he said. So Margie came. I raced down. There was all sorts of traffic at that time, but I got to the hospital this morning, and Margie came with me. And of course, you know my Margie's a nurse, and she's so calms me too. And he was, within minutes, he was calmer because we were there. And Matt actually came down in the early afternoon. Debbie came on her way. She came about 2 hours after we got there. And by that time, with us there, with Margie, I think he was dehydrated too. Margie was letting him sip some water, and he wasn't too hungry. But make a long story short, thank God he's lucid. Everything's fine. All his vitals are good. Uh, the lovely nurse that he had all day yesterday, Alyssa, she came in, and somehow he knew she's there. They know, patients know who are the kind, loving, funny ones. And he was even laughing with us. And he had even said to me on the phone early this morning, call Matt, get him down here. And Matt is the one that he's always afraid when he gets involved with the doctors, because Matt is in the medical field to begin with, and he knows so much, and he knows so many doctors in all the hospitals because he works with them. And Matt gets in there, okay, we need help. He's the big guns of the family, and Moosie always gets nervous when Matt comes in. He always says, well, don't tell Matt about this, because he'll be down there fighting for me. Well, the whole table turned this morning. That was the humorous part of all this. He said, call Matt, get Matt down here. And when I called Matt, I laughed. I said, how he never wants you to get involved. I said, well, he was actually calling for you to get down here. And Matt laughed and said, that makes me feel so good. He said he decided to call in the big guns auxiliary. So anyway, we've talked with the nurse and everything, and he probably woke up with a little too much drugs in him and was disoriented. I even, for the past 2 nights, waking up at night, I think if he's not in bed, I don't know where he is, and I say, oh, he must still be in watching rugby in the living room. You get disoriented anyway when you wake up, and your normal schedule is different. But anyway, with the kids there, and with Margie and with me there, he was even laughing at funny little stories. He was calm, and Alyssa arrived and calmed him down. They even somehow was able to move him and change his sheets and give him a bath this morning. Margie and I stayed until, I guess, about 1 o'clock. And Debbie had to leave because she had some conferences today, but Matt was on his way this afternoon, and he was happy that Matt was coming, but he was calm by then. So it's going to be a long haul. I will still keep doing this because I know that a lot of you have been through stuff like this, and it's been about 8 or 9 years now since Moosie first had a stroke, and then after that it was the hip and several other falls and sepsis, and the poor guy's been through the ringer. And as he said, or Margie made a joke about Shamu and Moosie having their 9 lives. So a little humor helps in all this. It really does. But thank God for my children who are here not only to support him, but they're my calming influence as well. So I know you are too. Just, if you pray, please pray for my Moosie. It's going to be a long haul. We don't know what's coming next. And my daughters keep saying, don't get ahead of yourself, Mom. We'll take this day by day. But we have to be ready for this. I think bit at the inside of my lip, and my lip is swollen. But enough about me. I had some things I wanted to talk about, and Debbie and I had so much fun. Moosie was worried that, as I told you, that we wouldn't get to see. We had a little plan to see Molly's kids in Debbie's swimming pool. They're taking swimming lessons, and we were going to go over there and see them. And then we wanted to go to Red Lobster, and so many little things we were planning to do, which we will get to do them. But I don't think he'll be able to come straight home because I couldn't take care of him flat on his back like that. And the best thing for him would be to go to one of these rehab centers where they're already thinking about trying to get him walking, but not yet, I don't think, because but when you're the doctor says when you're off your feet like that, immobile for 3 days, you lose all the power, which he doesn't have all the power anyway. He is a fall risk. He doesn't have balance. He can't stand alone, and he uses that wheelchair. And in many cases, when the kids are around, I will use the wheelchair. But he thought he could do it this time, and I should have known. But you're not thinking when we were trying to get to this appointment. The nurse had said, "Can you come down now?" And you know that, trying to get Moosie in the car and driving and traffic on the roads and whatever, you're not thinking right. So I hope you all are well. Please be careful, especially those of you who don't have good balance. Even I was so shaky this morning when I got to the hospital. I had to park the car way out on the side. It was a long walk to get to the lobby, and then, when you get in there, you've got to walk down the hall. I almost took Moosie's rollator, his that rolling walker, out of the trunk because it's still in the trunk, and I was almost going to use that myself, and I probably should have, because by the time I got in the hospital, my legs, well, I was shaky just from this whole thing anyway. But I think from now on, if I have to move around, I'm going to use that myself, with my bone-on-bone arthritis and whatever. So, as they say, growing old isn't for sissies. Or is for sissies. No, it's not. And I was reading so much last night on my iPad, which you shouldn't do, about the pitfalls of being older and what you have to look for and all that. And one of the best things that I read was, it's so important for us to adapt to our different and new ways that our body moves. Our brains might still be working fine, thinking we can do everything, but I know that I have to watch every step I take. I had all my falls, about 9 of them, about when I was 80. So now I'm almost 87. And now I watch every place. I've tripped over those parking cement curve things that you pull into, tripped over those one time with yogurts for Moosie and I. I saved both yogurts, but did a face plant on the cement. I tripped over his rollator in the bedroom, and thank God I've never hurt myself now. But falling, please be careful, everyone. Take it slower. I have to be careful when I feed those birds. In fact, I think we might start having, maybe the kids start feeding the birds too, because being in the garden is a wreck right now. Moosie goes out there usually every morning. It's so hot. Things are dying. I have to get out there and kind of water myself a little bit. We have automatic sprinklers, but something's wrong with the pressure right now. So I don't want to ramble anymore. I'm home. I'm going to relax. I'm going to take off my clothes, hop on my bed. I did not sleep well again last night because you try and think too much. I'm not watching the news, and I'm not watching TV unless I can find some kind of an upbeat program. That's usually some wonderful little British sitcom or something that calms me, that's fun and funny. And so I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, for binging, for helping our channel, and I'll try and keep you updated as much as I can. The girls said, "Mom, maybe you should cool it on the iPad. Don't worry about that." Well, I don't worry. I've told you before that doing this and talking with you is as much of a help to me as it hopefully might be for you. And I need this. It's just something that I enjoy doing. It's not, unless I have to prepare for something, which I don't think I'll be doing too much of, because I'll be going back and forth to the hospital every day now for a while. But I will keep you up to date, and as soon as I can, as things happen. But hopefully from now on, with God's blessings and prayers, everything will slowly go on. The pain probably will be hard for him to bear for a while, but we're putting our faith in God and also the doctors to do the right thing. We just love you so much. Thank you for being here with us, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now, and God bless us and love us and take care of us all.